welcome to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about cross-examination and specifically how to phrase leading questions when you are cross-examining a witness. And so I'm going to be focusing on two specific styles of leading question in cross-examination. And the first style is the statement question. The second is the tag question. So I'm going to be giving examples of each type of question and just going through the pros and the cons of each question. And at the end, I'll tell you which one I prefer. So before I give you examples of the two different styles or types of leading questions, I just want to recap on the purpose of asking leading questions in cross-examination. And as you should know, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, the reason why we ask leading questions in cross-examination is to ensure that we control the witness's answers. It's to ensure that the witness does not say anything that could harm our case or enhance the case for your opponent or enhance your opponent's case. So that's the purpose of asking leading questions in the main. So let's have a look at the two types of questions that I mentioned, the statement question and the tag question. An example of a statement leading question would be, the man was 30 meters away from where you were positioned. That's a statement question. An example of a tag question would be, the man was 30 meters away from where you were positioned. Is that correct? So you notice the distinction between the two types of leading question. The tag question had a tag at the end, funnily enough. The tag being, is that correct? That's the tag. The statement question is simply a statement. So let me give you another example. Statement question. The man had his back to you. Tag question, the man had his back to you, didn't he? Again, the distinction being the tag at the end of the second question. So let's have a look then at the pros and the cons of those two styles, those two forms of questions. And let's start with the statement question. With the statement question, I think the benefits, the pros are that when the advocate is asking those types of questions, there is an air of authority that is being conveyed. There's an air of certainty that is being conveyed. You saw the man from 30 meters away. The man had his back to you. The man was running away from you. Now, it was midnight when this incident occurred. And you weren't wearing your glasses. So those are the statement questions. And as I said, I think there's a sort of air of confidence and authority when you ask those types of questions. So that's the first pro. I think it's easier to build momentum with the statement type of question. You get into this rhythm with that type of question. And as a result, it makes it almost irresistible for the witness to agree to the statements that you're putting to the witness. It's harder for the witness to break up that momentum with those types of questions and disagree with what's being put to them or what's being asked of them. I think the statement question is really useful when you're dealing with an evasive witness. I think it's a really useful technique to use to try and contain an evasive witness. So let's have a look at the cons of the statement question. So first con is that critics, there's always a critic, critics will say that the question is not actually a question, it's a declaration, it's a statement. You're not actually asking questions. And I've heard that criticism, particularly from those who practice in the United States. And I'm not sure, but I think they have a rule in the States whereby you have to formulate your questions not as statements, but as proper questions. And so that's the criticism I hear. And even in the jurisdiction of England and Wales, sometimes some judges will say, that's not a question, please ask your question again in the form of a question. I haven't come across it too often in this jurisdiction. I don't think that there is anything wrong with asking the question in the form of a statement. I think it's very clear that a question is being asked when you phrase it as a statement. The second con that I've identified with the statement question is that sometimes a witness will say to you, is that a question? Are you asking me a question? And that has happened to me a few times. I wouldn't be concerned about a witness asking you that question. I wouldn't be concerned about it at all. I don't think it reflects badly on you. I think it actually reflects badly on the witness, because quite often the witness will come across as having an attitude, the witness will come across as being difficult or belligerent, which will not go down well with a jury or with any tribunal, I should imagine. So I wouldn't worry about that. If a witness says, are you asking me a question? You could simply say, it was a question. And then you could ask the same question again. The other problem that you have with the statement question is that sometimes it can sound like a monologue when you're cross-examining the witness. So be very careful about that. Make sure that your questions are short, precise, and clear. So now let's turn to the tag question. Let's have a look at the pros of the tag question. I could only identify one pro, and that is that it is absolutely clear that you are, in fact, asking a question. That's the pro. The cons. I've identified a few cons with the tag question. Continuous use of tags can result in the cross-examination sounding like an interrogation. We don't want that, okay? So we want to avoid using too many tags because, as I said, it can sound like an interrogation. Is that correct? That's the position, isn't it? I don't know, it's a bit like a police interview. The other problem with the tag question is that it can become quite grating and jarring to the ear if you're continuously hearing, isn't it? Is that the position? Is that correct? Is that incorrect? At the end or at the start of questions, it's just really, it's not very elegant, is what I would say. It's quite grating. And another con of using a tag question is that it can result in grammatical errors. I've seen many students when they're starting out in their advocacy journey at our school use the wrong tag, which results in grammatically incorrect sentences. For example, the man came towards you in it. The man ran away, wasn't it? And if you ask a grammatically incorrect question, it could cause confusion for the witness and could result in the witness unintentionally giving an affirmation to the question. So if you are going to use tags, just be really careful about your choice of tag. So what's my view? Which type of question do I prefer? I think it's quite obvious that I love the statement question. It's just so much more elegant. I feel that you have more of a rhythm when you ask the statement question. I feel that it's easier to get the witness to agree to whatever you're putting to them or asking of them in the question that you ask. I just feel that it's a It's easier on the ear as well. I think it's a really good type of question, type of leading question to use in cross-examination. However, there is nothing wrong with using the tag question. It's permissible. It's a leading question if you phrased it properly. If it's precisely phrased, nothing wrong with using the tag. I don't particularly like the tag question, but it's a matter for you. You do you. What I would suggest, though, is that you combine questions. So for me, I prefer the statement question. I would use predominantly statement questions, and I may add in a few tag questions here and there, maybe to just break up the rhythm of the cross-examination, or because I feel that it's appropriate to ask a tag question at a particular point in time. So I may throw in a sprinkling of tag questions here and there. As I said, it's a matter for you. You decide what works for you and what will work for your cross-examination. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.